Meyers' attorney told CNN, quote, "We are carefully reviewing the affidavit of probable cause and preparing for a preliminary hearing. To comment on anything additional at this time would be inappropriate from any party involved. The suspect is expected in court this Friday." But I want to bring in internet safety expert Alicia Kozak. She wrote the book, The Internet Safety Guidebook, and at the age of 13, she was abducted by a predator who had catfished Alicia online, pretending to be a girl her age. Thank you for taking the time. I just want to start with, what do you make of the fact that this accused predator was someone in the school, maybe even in their class, as opposed to what someone might typically think, hey, it's someone miles and miles away and not close to home?
Yeah, this is definitely a very disturbing case, but it's also an extreme case, but it's really what is hiding under the surface. So I speak in schools very often, and in nearly every school I speak in, I have a disclosure of sextortion going on, and it is most often by a fellow student. This is becoming incredibly common, where it is happening in the room and the children are harming each other. And it's something that we're certainly not talking about enough. And it's a very dark area, but it is a reality that this case is bringing to the surface. And it's an awful case, but I'm glad that we're talking about it.
Yeah, absolutely. It is dark. And I think it was certainly surprising to a number of us when the story was pitched in our morning meeting that this was happening, that there were so many charges here. Also, the fact that the victims are boys. You say that oftentimes predators can use that to their advantage. How?
Predators do target boys. From what I've heard, even from law enforcement, sometimes more often, because boys are less likely to come forward. That there is a stigma and shame and embarrassment surrounding this. But also, we teach boys and talk to boys from the time that they're itty bitty babies. You're so tough and you're so big and you're so strong. And when it comes to the internet, yeah, that may all be true. They may be big and tough and strong. But when it comes to the internet, those things don't add up to anything. They don't offer any protection or any value, because it's not a battle of strength. It is a battle of wits. And kids are up against so much. Predators are so good at what they do and how to trick the kids. This was a student who was incredibly involved. He was the class president. He was somebody so trustworthy, somebody that you would feel safe with. And these students certainly did, from what I've read and what I have heard. He was hiding right in plain sight, and this had been going on for some time, and what these boys endured was horrible. But what I'm also seeing, and what I also really want to ask people, is that as a public, we really have to think about how we respond to cases like this. I'm seeing things online like parents need to teach their kids common sense, and that if I was 17, I wouldn't have fallen for that, and they victim blame. And when we do that, we are teaching children, and boys especially, not to come forward. And with that, there will unfortunately be more victims. So we have to change our language. When it comes to sextortion, a big part of it is that they're going to be exposed and embarrassed. And then once it hits the public, they come forward, and then that is exactly what happens. So we really need to be protective of victims and create a culture and a world where it is a safe place for them to come forward.